Thank
You're
you.
recognized for your 5 minutes. Good
Thank
to
you,
see
Madam
you.
Chair. I appreciate it very much, and I want to thank the witnesses.
And his
for their
father, for those that may not know this, Mr. Bilirakis' father at one time was the chairman of this subcommittee,
Yeah,
a wonderful
yeah.
chairman.
10 years. 10 years. Yeah. Thank you very much for bringing that up. He's doing great. Thank you. Uh, I'm particularly grateful to see my bill, Madam Chair, and I appreciate you putting it on the agenda today among the 22 bills. I co-lead this bill with the caucus chair, Representative Butterfield, the Rare Disease Caucus, and it's called the Speeding Therapy Access Today Act, the STAT Act, H.R. 1730, on the docket today, and I'm hopeful the chair will continue to work with us, and I know she will, on this bipartisan bill to consider it as part of our user fee package. I know there are no guarantees. I've said before, rare diseases are not a rare problem, and they affect almost 1 in 10 people in our nation. And while we have made great strides and progress in the development of therapies for certain rare diseases, we have a long way to go. And there are particular challenges with these small patient populations, with up not to 95% of rare conditions that still do not have an approved treatment, especially for ultra-rare diseases. We've got to do something about that. So Dr. Vereshchaganina and Dr. Esham, can you share some thoughts on why it is so difficult to develop treatments for the rare disease and ultra-rare disease communities, and what ways could cross-agency approach, that kind of an approach at FDA, help solve some of the challenges you describe?
Thank you for this question. And as I mentioned in Pharma's opening statement, we recognize rare disease drug development as an area that still requires a lot of attention. And as you mentioned, many patients still lack FDA-approved treatments. So there's a lot of challenges stemming from the fact that patient populations are very small, and it might be challenging to recruit patients into clinical trials. And this becomes even more of a concern for ultra-rare diseases, where patient populations can be, literally, in dozens or even less. And because of small patient population, there is also challenge of sometimes natural history of disease is not known. Today already many people mentioned maybe there are not established endpoints. So this is why we supported rare disease drug development provisions in PDUFA, both the current cycle and the upcoming PDUFA 7 cycle. It includes a dedicated pilot to work on establishing and finding those endpoints for rare disease drug development. It also includes provisions specifically supporting FDA's task forces in both Drug Center CDER and Biologics Center CBER. So a sponsor will be able to continue working with FDA very closely on solving those underlying clinical trial design and endpoints issues.
Thank you. Dr. Esham, do you have anything briefly to add, please?
I think she stated it very well. Again, these are issues that the challenges compounded by often working where there's little precedence that this is innovation in its truest form. As you know, that there's thousands of these still don't have a treatment available, and there's thousands of more diagnosed every year. So again, we need to foster development pathways for the treatments of these diseases, particularly for those patients that have no options. So we would love to continue to work with you on these important issues.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Dr. Vereshchaganina, I practice this, but it's very difficult. I have a tough name as well. So your testimony also specifically mentioned the need to preserve incentives for rare disease drug development, such as those under the Orphan Drug Act, for continued research and development investments. I couldn't agree more. I truly believe that the STAT Act will continue to enhance those incentives by bringing in additional cooperation and expertise within the FDA to treat rare conditions, such as advancements in trial design, statistical analysis, and regulatory science. Can you explain how new incentives and tools at FDA could work to help bring rare disease products to market faster?
Yes, thank you for this question. So the Orphan Drug Act demonstrated that it's been tremendously helpful for companies to provide that needed incentive to go into the area of a lot of uncertainty, and maybe there's where again there's not enough scientific data available and the basis. So companies do need those incentives and regulatory predictability to go into those areas and develop much needed drugs for rare diseases. And I can't specifically comment on the STAT Act. Pharma and our member companies do support incentives for rare disease drug development.
Thank you very much. I yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back.